New details tonight in a fatal stabbing at a North York apartment building yesterday afternoon. The victim's husband now facing first-degree murder charges. Good evening. Police have identified the victim as 29-year-old Thi Yuang of Toronto. She was found with stab wounds in a hallway of a high-rise.
The suspect fled the scene but has since been arrested. Police confirming the accused and the victim were married. CTV's Janice Golding has been following the story and joins us now live from outside the building near Fairview Mall Drive and Don Mills Road. Janice.
Hi, Raheem. Yes, police are investigating the city's latest homicide. A woman, they say, was killed in this high-rise behind us, allegedly by her own husband. Heavily armed police officers surround a building just north of Fairview Mall.
Police just came around. They were just setting up the white, their yellow strips, ribbons, and they were like, we don't know what happened. I asked them. They were like, we can't say anything.
It was just after 2:30 p.m. and residents say they had no idea what was happening.
The concierge announced that you're not allowed, nobody allowed to go outside the building. Just please stay at home, do not use the elevator.
They didn't know that while they were locked inside their units, police were hunting for a murder suspect.
There was initial concern where we were not able to verify for some time if the suspect was still within the building or not.
Investigators say they were called for a person with a knife.
Initial information received that a person had been stabbed and a suspect had fled.
When they arrived at the condominium complex, officers discovered a woman in a fifth-floor hallway with stab wounds. Despite all efforts to save her life, however, the 29-year-old woman would be pronounced dead on scene.
Pretty sad to see something happening in the building and in the residence.
It's really sad about hearing all this because it's a tight security, and after all that.
It's quite shocking, and I couldn't believe it at first when I first saw the news.
After locking the building down and a thorough search and reviewing video, police determined the suspect fled before they arrived. A 28-year-old man police now say was the victim's husband.
But I hope the police can take care of this. If it's his husband.
The victim has been identified as 29-year-old Thi Nguyen of Toronto. She is the city's 21st homicide of 2026. The accused 28-year-old Martin Lee of Vaughan has been charged with first-degree murder. He's also facing a charge of failure to comply with an undertaking, an allegation that he breached a court-ordered release condition from an earlier matter. Police will not disclose, however, what exactly that condition was, saying that the matter is now before the courts. Reporting live, I'm Janice Golding. Now back to Andrea.
Thank you, Janice. Well, we have breaking news on the FIFA World Cup. We had to go to extra time. Raheem, who won the game?
Well, for the first time since 2010 and their first appearance in the final, Spain are your 2026 World Cup champions, defeating Argentina 1-0 in what was an incredible match.
It just happened. It just happened. Right now.
And so let's keep it going, shall we? Let's go live to CP24's Andrew Brennan. He was watching the game with fans at the FIFA Fan Festival. Andrew, what's the atmosphere down there like?
I do not know the Spanish word for pandemonium, Raheem, but if I did, I would say it right now. It is just in the last couple of seconds, we have basically been in a no person's land where the concrete is. Everyone's spilling out now and starting their celebrations. I'm seeing dances. I'm seeing that. España. Okay, how are we feeling right now?
We're feeling great.
Oh, also, by the way, in case your mom is watching, no swearing anyone, okay?
Justice.
Okay, so justice. So tell me why justice.
Because Argentina is racist.
I've heard people talk.
The world wanted Spain to win. And we love to see it.
I've heard a lot of the talk about the Eurocentrism in Argentina, but even picking a European team over them, that says a lot about what they...
don't have black players. You see any black players in Argentina? No. They don't want them. They're racist. So got the yellow. He's so racist. You could see last year after Copa America.
There's videos of him saying really awful things about players on the French team. You know what I mean?
I know that there's so many layers to unpack with how Argentina's with their the team, also just in terms of culture. And I know we don't have the time to get through. I would love to. However, but football is an amalgam for life, and there's this in your mind is a form of justice. But tell me a little bit about what you saw on the pitch that makes you so happy right now.
Well, Argentina didn't have any fight in the game. For one, they had about one or two shots. Spain dominated them the whole time, and it was a deserved win. You know what I mean? And we love to see it.
So I want to ask you very quickly, when you see over 20 shots on goal and then Argentina barely getting, I don't know how many attempts on goal they actually had.
2 or 3 at the end, yeah.
Was this something where it should, like, no matter what the final score being 1-0, this is something that Spain should have won?
Have you watched the match against Egypt, Cabo Verde, Switzerland? Argentina was always on the back foot. They're always the weaker team. They just have mentality because they're winners. They've won the last World Cup. But they're not as good as of a team that had an easy route, not like Spain. So this was justice. Spain won fair and square. We're the better team. Not doing crazy fouls, physical, for no reason, pushing like Paredes, like Enzo Fernandez. And I love Messi. It's not about Messi or Ronaldo.
It's not about
Messi is amazing. He's the GOAT. Undisputed GOAT. He is. But Spain won fair and square. They're the better team the entire tournament. So I'm beyond happy. Football won today.
Over the moon. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate the both of you. Thank you very much. And I appreciate you for moral support. Good job. Okay, we could talk to many more people, but I think you kind of get a little bit of a gist there, Raheem, Andrea. So, there's a lot that goes into a football match. And I know that there's a lot of people that wanted Messi to go out on top. We also don't know if this is necessarily his last, but it probably is his last hurrah. That being said, the hurrahs here are going to continue, methinks, for a little while. So, reporting live right now from FanFest for the last time on this 2026 FIFA World Cup journey, I'm Andrew Brennan. It's time for this to be over, and back to you.
All right, thanks for that, Andrew. It may be over for now, but I think the debrief is going to continue for quite some time in terms of how the city handled everything and the aftermath, and we'll be right here to have it all for you. We will continue our World Cup coverage, but for now, let's move on to some of the other news that we have today. A 20-year-old woman is dead after she was run over by a vehicle while crossing a busy Mississauga intersection late last night. It happened right near the Trillium Hospital on the Queensway around 11:30. The victim was rushed for treatment for her life-threatening injuries, but was later pronounced dead at hospital. The driver was eventually charged with failure to remain causing death.
The victim was crossing Queensway Drive in a northbound direction, mid-block. The victim reached the center median, and when she stepped off the center median into westbound lanes of traffic, she fell onto the road. At that time, she was run over by the involved vehicle, which was a sedan. The vehicle initially departed the scene and returned to the scene approximately 8 minutes later.
Well, police say it's unclear whether there was any criminal intent behind the driver's initial departure from the scene or whether the driver was unaware they had struck the woman. Now, the driver has since been released while investigators continued to examine the circumstances surrounding the collision. And an elderly woman involved in a Scarborough crash on Monday afternoon has now died from her injuries. The crash happened near Lawrence Avenue East and Charlottetown Boulevard just before 4 p.m. Investigators say a 91-year-old woman was driving a Toyota Corolla eastbound on Lawrence Avenue East at the same time that a 38-year-old woman was driving a Toyota RAV4 northbound on Charlottetown Boulevard. Officers say the elderly woman suffered a medical episode causing her vehicle to run the red light and collide with the RAV4 before crashing into a nearby high school. The woman died from her injuries in hospital yesterday. Police are asking anyone with security or dash cam footage to get in touch.
An employee has died after a workplace accident at a Hamilton racetrack last night. Officers were called to the Flamborough Speedway shortly after 9 for reports that a worker had been injured in an accident on the track. The worker was rushed to hospital where they died from their injuries. No age or gender has been provided by police. The racetrack's website said it was hosting a Christmas in July toy drive and Meet the Drivers event along with a series of races. The Ministry of Labor has now taken over the investigation.
Police have released images of 2 suspects wanted in a deadly shooting in Niagara Falls on Thursday. Investigators are searching for 23-year-old Maruf Bangui and 30-year-old Justa Grace McNeil. Both are wanted for a second-degree murder in the fatal shooting of a man the night of July 16th on Thorold Stone Road. Niagara police believe the suspects are driving a black 2021 Mazda CX-5 with Ontario license plate DDEC 744. Police say no weapon has been recovered from the shooting, so they should be considered armed and dangerous. If you see them, call 911 immediately.
Legendary Blue Jays relief pitcher Dwayne Ward has died. The team announced this morning that Ward died of natural causes in Toronto. He had arrived in the city Friday ahead of the team's ceremony honoring its 1992 and 1993 championship teams, but was absent from Saturday's festivities at Rogers Centre. Ward spent 10 seasons in Toronto from 1986 to 1995, appearing in 452 games. His 121 career saves are the second most in franchise history, and he was a key contributor to the team's back-to-back World Series championships in 1992 and 93.
Wardo reached the peak of his career in '93 when he was named an American League All-Star, leading the league with 45 saves.
And a moment of silence was held for Ward prior to the start of this afternoon's Blue Jays game against the White Sox. Ward's 45 saves in 1993 remains a single-season franchise record. Dwayne Ward was 62 years old. We'll have plenty more news in a moment, but first here's a live look at Nathan Phillips Square where you can see, party time, absolutely. A big crowd showing up to watch the final of the FIFA World Cup match. Once again, Spain are your World Cup champions. And as we take a look at the Air Quality Health Index for tomorrow, you can see a significant improvement compared to last week. Even in Toronto, we will be in the low-risk territory. Nice to see blues as opposed to the yellows and the reds. Sault Ste. Marie and Windsor, they are still at a 4. Satellite radar, not much to show you. It has been a picture-perfect day out there. Beautiful conditions to get outside and enjoy yourself. Current winds, fairly light, 15 kilometers per hour in Toronto, just 4 kilometers per hour in Niagara Falls. Temperatures, 25 degrees in Windsor, feeling like 29. Kingston, 24 degrees, and a touch of humidity out in Ottawa, feeling like 25. At the islands right now, 22 degrees, Pearson Airport, similar conditions. Tonight, our overnight low, 14 degrees. That is a touch below normal for this time of year. We're in for a great week ahead. However, there are some showers on the way coming on Tuesday. We'll have all those details coming up. But Andrea, for now, back to you.
Thanks, Raheem. Caribbean Carnival season is underway in Toronto, and today the juniors took center stage.
This is one of the most exciting events of the entire Toronto Carnival. And it's also important to keep the tradition and festivities going for years to come.
All dressed up and fueling up, thousands of young masqueraders are making sure every detail is perfect before their handcrafted costumes fill the streets for the Junior Carnival Parade.
I enjoyed about dancing up and down, making friends with everyone. It was really fun.
This is one of the most anticipated family events of the Toronto Caribbean Festival. It had to be rescheduled due to Saturday's forecast, but that's had little impact on the turnout as these young people continue the tradition of embracing Caribbean culture and artistic expression.
Toronto is a multicultural city, but the Caribbean have given a gift to Canada in 1967. It's the only organization that gave that gift that's still alive today, 59 years later.
This year's theme is We Move the Carnival, recognizing the passion, creativity, and pride that drives Carnival forward. And the next generation is a big part of that.
I come out every year because this is a part of my culture, part of my heritage. I'm so proud to be able to be part of this continuing legacy. I played kiddies when I was a child. I've played adult mass, I've built mass, and my niece was playing mass for the first time this year. She's turning 6 tomorrow.
Starting at Malvern Community Center, the parade makes its way to Nielsen Park, taking in the colorful sights and sounds of soca, calypso, and steel pan.
It's coming together to celebrate the Caribbean culture, the heritage, but also it's a statement to say that we're working hard and we're committed to a city that's better future for our children.
Very passionate about my culture. My parents are both from Trinidad and Tobago. This is something that they've passed on to us. It's a celebration. It's a way of family and friends coming together in harmony.
Now in its 59th year, the Junior Parade is just the beginning of the overall Caribbean Carnival, one of the largest cultural festivals in North America.
Ontario's Highway Traffic Act makes it illegal for road users to pass open streetcar doors. But tomorrow will mark a major new step towards enforcing that law. Starting tomorrow, 4 streetcars will roll out on 5 mixed traffic routes equipped with special new cameras. They will measure how frequently illegal streetcar passing happens. They'll also test how reliable the technology is for future automated enforcement. The TTC says tickets will not be issued yet, but the offense carries a potential fine of more than $180 and 3 demerit points. And as has been the case this weekend and last, there were some changes to GO train service today as Metrolink said it was dealing with crew constraints. Trains were running less frequently on the Lakeshore East and West lines into the afternoon. They then resumed 15-minute service, but officials warned some trips could still be canceled or modified across the network. The latest schedule updates are available at gotransit.com.
Well, as Raheem said in his early weather report, the air quality warning that was in effect for much of the GTA last week is now over. A much more fresh look and feel in the city today as we take a live look outside. Environment Canada lifted that warning we've been under for the past few days as a result of wildfire smoke. Several times over the past few days, Toronto's air was the worst quality in the world, according to a group that tracks those readings. The air quality index currently is at 3, which is considered a low risk, but there is the potential to go up to a moderate risk in the day tomorrow. Well, as wildfire season heats up across Canada, Northern Ontario remains one of the hardest hit regions.
CTV's Heather Wright is in Thunder Bay, tracking the efforts to get the flames under control.
So the unit consists basically of a 1,000-liter water reservoir with a shutoff valve at the bottom.
The unit is a fire skid, a piece of life-saving equipment being deployed in Northern Ontario, which can essentially turn any pickup truck into a fire truck.
These are quite useful for volunteer and rural fire departments that don't have access, number one, to complicated equipment, big fire trucks, also to get into rough terrain, backcountry places.
Many of the more than 190 wildfires burning in Ontario are in remote and hard-to-get-to areas. Most of the communities being threatened are not accessible by road. These fire skids are being loaded into airplanes and delivered to those communities. This one off to a place where vulnerable people have already been evacuated, but many still remain hoping to keep encroaching fires at bay.
They want to stay in the community. They don't want it to leave it behind and have it destroyed by fire. So we're actually extending that arm of help to say, no, we want to help you stay in your community. We want to help to save the infrastructure and save your home so these vulnerable populations can return to their home.
10 communities in northwestern Ontario have already been evacuated, with many more being told to prepare to leave should things get worse. Today, Prime Minister Mark Carney said in a statement, in response to the devastating fires, Canada is taking an all-hands-on-deck approach. More than 5,300 firefighting personnel have been deployed across the country. Nearly 300 aircraft are in the field, from water bombers and helicopters to evacuation aircraft. But with nearly 1,000 fires burning across the country, resources are being stretched, and experts say this fire season is shaping up to be a particularly devastating one.
We're up close to 3 million hectares, and that's half the size of Nova Scotia, or 1.5 times the size of Lake Ontario. It's a big chunk of real estate, and we're only in the middle of the fire season.
The portability of it is what makes it one of the greatest assets.
And so with resources limited, these fire skids provide a lifeline to communities, hoping to save what they can.
It's so versatile, and it doesn't require a huge forklift to lift it onto an apparatus to make it functional. So that's, again, what makes it so adaptable to these remote environments or hard-to-reach places.
There is favorable weather in the forecast, but officials here say it will take several days of rain to make a significant impact in getting these fires under control. Heather Wright, CTV News, Thunder Bay, Ontario.
And with some communities facing evacuation orders, the province is updating its rules for how emergency alerts are sent out. The Ministry of Emergency Preparedness and Response says municipalities and First Nations will now be able to request urgent messages to be sent directly to the public through compatible mobile devices and via TV and radio. Minister Jill Dunlop says the alerts are intended for exceptional situations requiring immediate public awareness and action.
While returning to our coverage of the FIFA World Cup, Prime Minister Mark Carney joined the leaders of the U.S. and Mexico at the final of the tournament hosted by the 3 countries. The White House shared this video of Carney along with Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum and U.S. President Donald Trump as Jennifer Hudson belted out the U.S. national anthem. As international trade tensions persist, there's been no word on if they came up on the exchanges between the three leaders. Well, the Prime Minister and Canada's premiers are heading to Prince Edward Island this week for their latest First Ministers meeting. The leaders will gather in Charlottetown for meetings Tuesday to Thursday. The premiers are set to discuss a range of issues, including health care, affordability, national security, and public safety. But looming large over all those discussions will be the issue of trade and Canada-U.S. relations.
There are obviously a host of ongoing issues, but in today's day and age, I don't know that leaders can gather without the beginning, middle, and end of the discussions really being dominated by Donald Trump, the White House, and where things stand on trade. And I think increasingly the question that people are asking themselves, that the leaders are asking themselves, is how long can we continue in this state of, to a certain degree, uncertainty before we start to see businesses relocate, before we start to see jobs lost. And that takes you to the hard question of, well, do we try to rush towards some kind of deal with Donald Trump, or do we just hold our cards in the hopes that Donald Trump's political position will weaken, and that will mean that we're in a better position with respect to negotiations?
For his part, BC Premier David Eby told the Canadian press he plans to tell the Prime Minister he'd prefer no deal with the U.S. over a bad one.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is appointing a referendum lead for Alberta in the lead-up to a fall separation vote in the province. In an open letter, Poilievre is instructing Conservative caucus member Dan Lloyd to listen to Albertans and address their concerns. Albertans will vote in October on a referendum asking whether the province should pursue a binding vote on separation from Canada. The Conservative leader has said he's campaigning for Alberta to stay, but adds those who have lost hope in Canada are not our enemies, and his party aims to win them back.
Starting tomorrow, some Canadians will see a bump in their federal child benefit payments of roughly 2%. That means for eligible parents with children under 6, an increase of $160 a year. For those with children 6 to 17 years of age, a jump of $135 annually. The Canada Child Benefit is adjusted to inflation, and roughly 3.6 million Canadians will see the increase.
The federal government is introducing new temporary border measures to prevent the spread of Ebola. In a statement, the Public Health Agency of Canada says the policy will deny entry to foreign nationals who have traveled to the Democratic Republic of Congo within the previous 21 days. The measures are set to take effect Monday and expire at the end of August. The announcement comes as cases of Ebola in the Congo and deaths caused by the virus continue to rise. 893 people have now died, and the number of confirmed cases is approaching 2,300 after 29 new deaths and 86 confirmed cases in the last 24 hours. The often fatal disease spreads through direct contact with bodily fluids, and the UN says it's having difficulty stopping high-risk community burials, considering only about a third of deaths have taken place at clinics and hospitals. Now to the Middle East, where U.S. military officials are confirming the death of a third service member this weekend.
CENTCOM says they were killed during controlled detonation of a downed Iranian drone in northern Iraq as deadly fighting escalates once again across the region. As U.S. officials, they also shared video of attacks launched on Iran for the 8th night in a row, as well as strategic targets. The U.S. also claims it targeted Iran Revolutionary Guards responsible for killing 2 troops in Jordan on Friday. Iran carried out its own wave of strikes on targets in several countries, including Jordan and Kuwait. With diplomacy stalled over the conflict and the Strait of Hormuz, oil prices have skyrocketed once again across the globe.
We did a pause to try to get an agreement with the Iranian people to allow oil to flow without them attacking it. They've proven unwilling to do that, and we've pivoted. Now what we're doing is assuring that oil and gas and other products can flow through the Strait of Hormuz with or without Iranian cooperation. And we've continued to degrade their offensive military capabilities. The president is always looking for the diplomatic off-ramp. President Trump wants to end it with a peaceful agreement with Iran, but it takes 2 parties to do that. If they're ready to do that, that's the way it'll end. If not, we will continue to assure flow of traffic through the strait without Iran's cooperation.
U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright also noted the Trump administration's determination to keep Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. Tehran has long claimed it doesn't want one. Top Democrats say it's not clear what the president's goals are right now.
Before the war, average price of gasoline in Virginia was $2.81. It is now back to $4. Diesel's at $5. You know, I see no path in the short term how the strait is going to be settled. This war of choice has been a disaster. It has been a disaster militarily. It has been a disaster in terms of how we're viewed around the world. It has been a disaster to our friends and the allies who question whether we will keep our promises. I'm anxious, if it takes a classic Donald Trump move, declare victory tomorrow and be done. But the continuation of this war at this pace will be a continuing disaster.
This comes as U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio met with Lebanon's president today to discuss implementing a U.S. brokered framework agreement signed by both Israel and Lebanon aimed at ending the conflict, according to the U.S. State Department.
Russia has been carrying out another wave of attacks across Ukraine today as its invasion continues. The strikes included one of the biggest missile barrages on Kyiv since the start of the war, with officials reporting one person killed and at least 16 others hurt. Russia also carried out deadly attacks on targets closer to its territory today, leaving a combined death toll of at least 6. Analysts have pointed to a critical shortage of air defenses on the Ukrainian side, even as Ukraine ramps up its own strikes on Russia. The United Kingdom is preparing to officially name its 7th prime minister over the last 10 years. Former Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham became leader of the UK's governing Labour Party on Friday. He'll meet with King Charles to officially be invited to take on the role of PM tomorrow. He was swept into the top job after Labour members expressed concern of outgoing Prime Minister Keir Starmer was the right choice to lead the country and party into the next election, with the populist Reform Party leading in the polls.
Coming up after the break, we're still talking FIFA, but not football this time. We're talking about the first ever halftime show. That and so much more coming up after the break. Okay, so we've had the heat here, so this is a way to cool down. 22 runners from 7 countries competed in the world's coldest marathon held on a drifting sea ice at the geographic North Pole. Yeah, participants of the North Pole Marathon ran 40 laps of a circuit spanning more than a kilometer. They ran on a giant floating sheet of ice in near-freezing conditions wearing life vests and thermal gear. A Danish couple set a Guinness World Record for the fastest marathon by a married couple. They ran side by side with a combined time of 12 hours and 23 minutes and 29 seconds. Raheem.
How do you train for that? That's interesting.
I don't think you do. You just put on your warm gear and you just go. Wow.
Well, we have a fun day coming up tomorrow.
We do.
Yeah, we are heading out to the Smile Zone Foundation Charity Golf Tournament. We're lucky enough to be invited. And if you don't know who the Smile Foundation is, the Smile Zone Foundation, they do a lot of great work in hospitals right across the country where they create these incredible spaces for kids to make them feel like kids and have a great space when they're going through some tough times. And so there are over 500 Smile Zones in hospitals across Canada, which is pretty incredible. And so we're going to have some fun golfing tomorrow.
They can't do it without raising funds, so that's why we're going to be there trying to shake some people's pockets and get some money to fall out.
That's it. And I just want to give people a link because there is an auction that's going on and it raises a lot of money for a good cause. So if you are so inclined, you can head to smilezoneauction.com. There's a lot of great stuff on there. I checked it out. Placed a couple bids.
More importantly, how is your game? Have you been practicing? Are you ready for this?
I'm worried tomorrow because when I get paired up with people, I don't want to embarrass myself. I might just have to throw a couple extra balls and see if anybody notices.
I'll notice. You're going to be great. You're going to be
Well, you know what? Anyone who else is heading outside tomorrow, you're in for a beautiful day because it is going to be lovely. Let's start by showing you where things stand right now. 23 degrees in Toronto, feeling like 24. Maybe you're heading out tonight. Beautiful evening to do that. 21 degrees by 9 p.m. Conditions will be clear. Tonight's lows, I mentioned this earlier, we will be below normal for this time of year, as are a number of places in southwestern Ontario. Check out Bancroft, Goderich, and London. They are in single digits. Oh, Owen Sound as well. As we wake up tomorrow, I mentioned a beautiful day, 19 degrees by 9 a.m. and sunny. Tomorrow's high, 26 degrees, very comfortable, a little bit of humidex, feeling like 30. Here's your forecast radar, because there is some wet weather heading our way. Nothing on Monday. As we make our way into Tuesday, you can see through the afternoon hours, we do get some rain. It'll be on and off showers. And then this is what it will look like around 6 p.m. So we won't be out of it just yet, but then it does pass through. So a quick look at the 7-day forecast. We've talked about Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, still a 30% chance of showers, but it's looking like the sun will return. How about that overnight low, though? Just 12 degrees, and so cooler for what we're used to for this time of year, but comfortable for a lot of people as they go to bed. A nice week after that, plenty of sunshine to enjoy, mid-20s with a little bit of humidex. Great week ahead. Andrea.
Thank you, Raheem. Well, in sports, the Blue Jays were going for the series win in an afternoon game against the Chicago White Sox.
This one lifted deep right field. It is carrying, and it will go.
Boo. The Chicago White Sox broke the game open with 2 runs in the 6th, including the solo home run. Trey Savage pitched 6 innings with 9 strikeouts, but was charged with a loss. The Blue Jays were held to just 4 hits on a 3-zip defeat. Dylan Cease is expected to start tomorrow night as Toronto welcomes the American League leading Tampa Bay Rays to town for a 4-game series.
Back to our coverage of the World Cup, and Spain crowned champions after a 1-0 extra time win over Argentina. And on top of the excitement of the game itself, the first ever FIFA World Cup halftime show is now in the books. Madonna kicked off the 11-minute performance and was followed by K-pop sensation BTS, Justin Bieber, and Shakira and Burna Boy performing their 2026 World Cup anthem, Die Die. The entire show was curated by Coldplay's Chris Martin to support the FIFA Global Citizen Education Fund. Well, it's been a couple of weeks since the final World Cup match in Toronto, and we're learning more about the tourism impact of hosting games in the city from Destination Toronto.
We absolutely attracted over the last month or so, such a strong mix of international travelers and so many first-time visitors. And, while they were here, our focus really was on encouraging them to explore the city. Of course, they're here for the match, but, they most of the time, if you're coming and traveling internationally, you're going to be staying here multiple nights. And so, where else could they go? What neighborhoods could they visit? What else could they do? So the focus was really not just on that part, but also inspiring them to think about coming back and return and visit us again.
And as we say goodbye to the World Cup, we're reflecting on the 6 matches held right here in our city that saw flags flying, streets filled with fans, and communities united by the beautiful game.
The tournament turned the GTA into a global celebration, bringing people from every background together for a once-in-a-generation sporting moment.
6 games, 1 city, a world united. A city came alive and watch parties erupted. One thing brought us together, the beautiful game. And that feeling?
The same flag was in Qatar.
It'll last long after the final whistle. Toronto Stadium may have been the smallest venue of the FIFA World Cup, but the city showed just how loud, proud, and united it could be. More than 42,000 fans packed the stands, creating an atmosphere that echoed far beyond the pitch. And before the first whistle, the celebration was underway. The streets came alive. Supporters marched shoulder to shoulder toward the stadium. 1 stadium, 6 unforgettable matches. Beyond the stadium, FIFA Fan Fest became the heartbeat of the city. Thousands filled the waterfront. The world in a city came to life through music, art, food, and culture.
1, 2, 3. Vamos, Panama!
Every chant.
Let's go, Canada!
Every cheer.
It's about unity.
It's about unity.
Every connection. Nathan Phillips Square transformed into a World Cup playground, bringing the game into the core of Toronto. Culture, community, connection. On the waterfront, Canada Soccer House came alive. Big screens, live entertainment, and unforgettable energy. Every match felt bigger because everyone was part of it. One city, one team, one united atmosphere. Across the GTA, every neighborhood became a homegrown watch party. Every street echoed with cheers. Every celebration brought the city closer together. Parking lots became watch parties. Patios and restaurants overflowed with fans. You didn't need a stadium to feel part of the game. No matter where you were, the game brought everyone together right here at home.
I'll dance. Ready? All right. There we go.
From kickoff to the final whistle, the beautiful game united an entire city.
Health officials say none of the lettuce connected to the ongoing stomach parasite outbreaks in the U.S. has been sold in Canada. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency says it's in contact with the U.S. Food and Drug Administration and information is being reviewed. Officials say restrictions on fresh produce from the U.S. are not being considered. So far, an investigation by the FDA has identified a single supplier of lettuce that appears to be the cause of the outbreak, Taylor Farms, with some cases linked to Taco Bell locations. At this stage, health experts say people with symptoms like diarrhea north of the border probably have some other medical issue.
So if someone's presenting to clinical attention with a main syndrome of diarrhea, the clinician will have what's known as a differential diagnosis and they'll look for infectious and non-infectious causes of diarrhea. And under the infectious category, yeah, of course, cyclospora is on the list. But currently, without any outbreaks in Canada, and if someone has no travel history, cyclospora would be very low on the list of potential causes of this. It's not off the list, it's just lower on the list. We're very aware because we have a neighbor that has an outbreak with thousands of cases. People, of course, travel back and forth to the United States, and we have a rather integrated food importation system in place, so we have to be aware of it. But, if we timestamp this conversation to today, we don't have an outbreak of cyclospora in Canada.
The cyclosporiasis outbreak has so far resulted in about 100 hospitalizations and 0 deaths in the U.S.
There's new concern for the health and well-being of honeybees in this country, most famous for their sweet nectar. Their biggest job is actually helping grow the food we eat.
CTV's Alex Karpa has more on the research looking to protect them and strengthen Canadian agriculture.
Healthy honeybee colonies are essential for pollinating crops, supporting food production, and keeping Canada's agricultural industry strong.
We can see eggs, worker bees, drones.
Dr. Nuria Morfin carefully inspects honeybee colonies, work she's been doing for years to better understand the insects that play a vital role in Canada's food supply, contributing an estimated $7 billion annually to the economy.
Honeybees are an essential part of our agricultural systems.
What I'm holding here is a frame. It contains hundreds of bees, and it's just one of multiple frames that make up a hive, which can hold between 20,000 to 80,000 bees. But climate change, diseases, and some parasites are threatening the existence of these honeybees. One of the biggest threats to the bees is the Varroa destructor mite, which weakens their immune systems. Morfin studies how mites and other stressors contribute to disease, aiming to better protect bee colonies.
We want to be prepared, understand more, and provide more tools to the beekeeping industry.
The research will also examine how rising temperatures, changing humidity levels, and stresses like wildfire smoke make it harder for bees to fight disease.
So it's really important to understand all these different factors that impact them so that we can support humanity and our demand for lots of agriculture into the future.
The challenges facing honeybees are already affecting beekeepers across the province.
Last year we lost almost half our bees, and the bees that did come through were weaker. It's a lot of work and a lot of cost and stress too for my son and myself.
We want to propose solutions to the beekeeping industry so they can have more productive and healthier bees.
Hoping her research will provide much needed support for the beekeeping industry in the years ahead. Alex Karpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey sets sail this weekend, claiming a big win at the box office.
Ithaca's king is coming back. No, he's not.
Oh, yes, he is. The star set a take on the Greek epic tale, debuted with $124.5 million US across North America, the best live-action debut of the year so far. Disney's live-action version of Moana slid to second with 19 million in ticket sales, while Minions and Monsters was in third place for its third weekend with $14.8 million.
A pair of brothers from Toronto helped make The Outsiders a 4-time Tony Award winner. The 2024 Best Musical winner is now on stage in our city at the Princess of Wales Theatre.
For only 1 week more, and ironically, the key scene in the musical is played without music. Rick and Jeff Cooperman are dancers, directors, and choreographers who use movement to tell a story on stage, film, and television.
Why should I be happy? You're the one everyone loves.
Like this penultimate fight scene in Paul Rudd's latest miniseries, Living with Yourself. But it's their work on the Best New Musical Tony Award winner, The Outsiders, which recently brought them home to Toronto. The show's highlight is the Rumble.
It was a tall order. It's an iconic moment. And in Adam's stage direction, there's no music. So there are so many logistical challenges. How do we get people in sync? How do we keep people safe as they're throwing their bodies around the stage?
Ironically, the scene is performed without music. It's the sound effects, dramatic light, and pulse-racing movement which tell the story. The Harvard and Princeton graduates didn't plan on the careers they now have. It happened organically.
We never set out to do it. It wasn't a grand plan. But we realized that when we would come together, the work was better and it was more fun. So we decided to give it a go.
They hold third-degree black belts in karate and have danced since they were 5 years old.
Choreography is one tool in a toolbox that we have as artists to tell a story in the most compelling way possible.
Theirs isn't traditional choreography. That, coupled with the decades-old story of the outsiders, boys who become family, is bringing people to the theater.
Hearing how impactful the show is to young people and hearing the stories of young people coming and saying it really helped them through a tough time, for example, I think that's one of the most gratifying.
After more than 5 decades working behind the counter, a beloved grocery store owner in Western Quebec is celebrating his well-deserved retirement.
CTV's Josh Morano has more on the man who's become a local celebrity.
But you deserve it.
Francis Conroy is back where it all started 54 years ago. Inside Conroy's grocery in Chapeau, Quebec, the 91-year-old owner is officially hanging up his apron.
I know everybody in the area, I think. I know a lot of it out of the area because I was in the store every day.
Conroy was here slicing, serving, and packing meat for most of his life, working 7 days a week, rarely missing a day.
I started up here in '72 and never lost a minute here.
I can't say how proud I am of my dad. I can't say he makes me so proud, and he has given me such a good work ethic in life.
His retirement wasn't by choice. After a bad fall in December, Conroy and his family decided it was best to keep him off his feet.
It would break my heart to part it, but at least I can come and visit them and if I ever get on my feet again.
Conroy has become somewhat of a local celebrity in Chapeau, and not just for his meats.
Great guy, great family. You come to get a steak and you're here for an hour talking.
Yeah, talking with him, yeah. But for who he is as a person, as hundreds of regulars made their way through the family-owned shop, congratulating him on his well-deserved retirement.
I'll miss seeing him because, I mean, he just do anything for you, however you want it, whatever you want it. He was more like everybody's grandpa.
It shows me really how important he was to this community and how much he meant to people, and I see how much they loved him.
While he wishes he could be behind the counter, Conroy says it makes him proud to know just how much the community cares for him and to know his legacy will carry on through his family.
Don't expect a lot of credits for anything I do. I just like that people enjoy what I do, and I'm sure they do.
Josh Morano, CTV News, Chapeau.
Congratulations. Here's another live look at Nathan Phillips Square. A lot of people still enjoying the beautiful outdoor weather after the final FIFA World Cup match. Let's take a look at some temperatures. 23 degrees in Hamilton, 23 as well in Toronto. Camp forecast for anyone heading out tomorrow. For the kids, by noon, it'll be 23 degrees and sunny. 3 p.m., 25 and a touch of humidity at 28. Here's your 7-day forecast. We talked about the rain heading our way on Tuesday. Around the afternoon hours is when it should make its way through the GTA. See those overnight lows? Those are below normal seasonal values, but a great view, but lots of sunshine for next week. Andrea.
Thanks, Raheem. Be sure to join us tonight at 11 for the CTV National News, followed by our next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and online at CTV News Toronto. We're here.
All of us here at CTV News, thanks for watching. Have a good night. I'm Andrea Case.
And I'm Raheem Wadani. See you later.
See you later.